Hello, and let us begin our slope review. This handout is available to you on this haiku page, so feel free to print it out and take notes along with this. If you didn't print it out, then please be prepared to write down a lot of these notes in your notebook. When we meet again, we will be using slope, and we'll assume that you know how to find slope using all of these methods. This is a review from Algebra 1. And when this is complete, there is an assignment on quizzes that you will have to do before we meet again at our next class. First things first, there are several different ways that we can find slope. The first way that we are going to review is using the slope formula. If you are given two ordered pairs, then you can find the slope using the slope formula. Let's remember that we're given 2 points. Each point has x and y coordinates. The first point we can call point number 1, so we're going to use these small subscripts. The second point we will call point number 2, so we'll use the subscript number 2. And then we're going to use this formula, y2 minus y1, so that's -5 minus -3. I'm going to be super careful with these negatives. Divided by x2 minus x1. So that's going to be 2 minus 4. My negative is actually plus a positive, so -5 plus 3 is -2. 2 minus 4 is also -2, and this answer is 1. Our next example, if you would like to label your coordinates, you can do that also, but I am going to draw lines between my y's, and I draw the y's on top because the y's go on top. I'm going to do right minus left. I'm going to be consistent with that movement. So it's going to be -3 minus -3 divided by, and my denominator is the x's, so underneath I connect these two, 2 minus 0. Minus a negative is plus, so 3, that's going to be 0 over 2. 0 in the denominator is just 0. At this moment, if you'd like to pause, then you can do these bottom two, and I'm going to do them quickly, and we can check our answers. Hopefully got the answers for these two. Number 3 is undefined. Number 2 is when 0 is in the numerator, and you can even try it in your calculator if you'd like to. 0 divided by 2, that answer is 0. 0 in the denominator cannot happen. Cannot happen at all, so that is considered an undefined slope. If you want to make a quick sketch, do that. So let's see what it looks like. 0, -3, down to 3, and 2 over 2, there's 0, -3, and over 2 down 3. Well, this is a horizontal line. Horizontal line has slope 0. Let's see what happens over here in this case. Over 4 down 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, down 3 is somewhere over there. Over 4 up 17, well, here's over 4 up 17, that's somewhere over there. Well, here is my undefined, and that's a vertical line. Whenever we have a vertical line, your slope is undefined. Whenever we have a horizontal line, that slope is 0. All right, let's move on. A second way that we can find slope is by counting it in the line. And if we're given a graph, then remember slope is rise over run. So let's check it out. So what I'm going to do is, given these highlighted points that they gave me, is I'm going to make a right triangle. So I'm going to go down, and I'm going to go over. I can make a right triangle. See that right angle in there? And then I'm going to count my rise over run. Well, my rise is down 2, 3, 4, 5. That's -5 because I'm going down, right? And +2, 3, 4. So my slope is rise, which is the -5, over 4. For number 6 over here, well, that's a vertical line, and we just said over here that when there's a vertical line, it's undefined. It's just something that I have to remember. Here's another little trick, because sometimes we like tricks, right? So this line here goes up and down, and a lot of times we like abbreviations. I'm all about abbreviations, and maybe you used UND for an undefined slope, an undefined line, slope, undefined slope. That line goes up and down. There you go, up and down, just like that. Okay. All right, so you guys take a moment out and you try numbers 7 and 8. You can pause the screen now if you'd like. Number 7, I'm going to go from left to right, right? So I'm going to go positive 5 and then positive 5. Some of you might be thinking rise and maybe you came down. If you did that, then you'd be going left, and it would be down and left. It would be negative, negative. This slope here is definitely going to be a positive one. Other little things that you can remember is that when you go uphill from left to right, then you're going to have a positive slope. This guy over here is 0. The third way that we are going to find the slope of the line is by pulling it out of the equation. Now, equations can be rewritten or written in all different forms, but if we look at slope-intercept form, and that's this y equals mx plus b form, then remember our m is the slope. So no matter what equation you are given, rewrite it so that it looks like y equals mx plus b, and your m is the slope. Well, here's our first one here. I'm going to do 9 through 12 with you. Number 9, well, it is written as y equals, so I'm going to rewrite it. Y equals 1x plus 0. When there's no number in front of the x, your coefficient is a 1. And then we weren't adding anything, so there's plus 0. So now this looks a lot like this form. And here, that number in front of your x, that 1, is your slope. As I look over here at number 10, I have a lot of work to do to make it look like y equals, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my y on the left side where it is. I have to move the x. Okay, so I moved my x. Now I have to get the y by itself, so I'm going to divide every term by the coefficient of y, which is 3. So now y is equal to, that cancels, y equals, all right, remember looks like there's no coefficient, no number immediately before the x. We saw over here that when there wasn't one, we could put the number 1 there. So this is actually a negative 1 over 3. So let's pull the negative 1 over 3 off to the side of x so we can clearly see it as its own number, and then plus 3. That number there, that's your slope, negative 1/3. This next guy, x equals 3. Well, for lines like number 11 and number 15, my suggestion is to graph it. X equals 3, so I'm going to go over 1, 2, 3 on the x-axis, and I'm going to draw a line through 3. That's how I would graph the line x equals 3, and this is a line that goes up and down, and that's an undefined slope. Now we have to work on this one over here. Leave the y term, move your x, minus 4x. Divide by your coefficient of y. And y is equal to, all right, negative over negative is positive, and 4 over 8 reduces to 1/2. Okay, can I write 0.5? Yeah, I like fractions, especially when we're dealing with slope, so I'm going with 1/2. X, positive over negative, That's negative, and 12 over 8 reduces to 3/2. Honestly, this number really isn't important now because we're not graphing the line. All that we are asking for is the slope. What's the slope? Well, in this case, it is 1/2. Pause now, please, and try 13, 14, and 15, and then we can check answer together. Leave your y, move your x, minus 2x. All right, that doesn't say y equals, it says negative y equals, so I have to divide by the coefficient, which is -1, and now it's plain old y equals. Negative over negative is positive 2x. In this case, my slope is 2. It's that number. Leave your y where it is, move everything else to the right side, so it's negative y minus 3x minus 1. Divide again by the coefficient of y. Negative over negative is positive 3x. Negative over negative plus 1. That's it. Your slope in this case is 3. And the last one, okay, y equals. Well, let's see. When I only have one variable in my equation, I'm going to graph it. Y equals -7. So go to -7 on the y-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There it is. That's -7. And I'm going to draw a line through that -7, going through the y-axis, and that's a 0 slope. So there it is. Y equals our 0 slopes, and those are those answers. So hopefully this brought back a lot of slope memories. Please go try this is right while this is in your mind.